whole family can run Wi-Fi internet devices at the same time without losing speed or performance. Perfect when streaming videos, online games, whatever. 648-1370, 2EPBFI.com. Mike with us at Fifth Traffic Center. Of course, Hot News Talk Radio at AM 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Hot News Talk 1240.
It's 5:06 here at Hot News Talk Radio. I'm Russell. Here's what's happening. So we're looking at the news now where the police have identified a body that was found floating near the Chickamauga Dam, where Chattanooga police have now identified a body that was found on Wednesday morning as 39-year-old Torrance Civils, or Civils, not sure on the pronunciation for that. The cause of death is pending the results of the autopsy by the medical examiner's office. Chattanooga police are still asking anyone with any information regarding this incident to call 423-698-2525, and the investigation is still ongoing. So what had happened previously was that the Chattanooga police were saying that they found a body on Wednesday morning in the Tennessee River, and that was reported by local fishermen. And investigators of the Chattanooga Police Department were investigating a body that was found floating in the Tennessee River near Wednesday morning. The Chattanooga Police Department has confirmed that it's a black male's body, and he was found near mile marker 474 in the Chattanooga city limits. Investigators are now setting up their staging area at a marina off of Kings Point Road, and an official with the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency says that they got the call at about 2 a.m. of a floating body. So it's appearing that it has been identified. The body has been identified as Mr. Torrance Civils, and he's 39 years old approximately. So there's not any word yet on what the cause of death is, because the medical examiner is still working on that. But as soon as we find out, we'll let you know right here on Hot News Talk Radio, because this is still a developing story. So as soon as we find out any more information, we'll let you know. A corrections officer is being accused of posing as a doctor to steal drugs. So the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office has suspended Ryan Epperson with pay pending the outcome of his court hearing June the 2nd. Hamilton County Sheriff Jim Hammond says that it is our agency's duty, or rather our agency's policy, to give the employee his day in court first, where they can be found innocent or guilty. If this employee is found guilty of any charges, says Hammond, that he will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Chief Alan Branham says that we just don't tolerate this kind of behavior by any of our employees who have betrayed the public's trust in them. Hamilton County Sheriff's Corrections Officer Epperson is facing numerous charges now after police say he reportedly posed as a surgeon doctor at local hospitals in order to steal drugs. Epperson, who's 26 years old, has worked as a jailer since 2009. He told investigators that he had an addiction problem, according to an affidavit of complaint. He told investigators that he was concerned about keeping his job, and he was reportedly caught at Erlanger on Wednesday by a Walden security guard and turned over all the drugs that were taken from CHI Memorial Hospital, Erlanger Hospital, and Park Ridge Medical Center as well. Walden Security, by the way, is a security agency in charge of making sure that Erlanger Hospital is safe. They are the agency in charge in that matter. Investigators searched his apartment in Red Bank as well as his vehicle after he gave them permission. So it's unclear right now whether or not he's been found guilty, although it's not appearing that he has. They found a large bag of drugs in a Ford Fusion, and a large quantity of drugs were found at his home, including Demerol, fentanyl, hydromorphone, morphine, methazone, and promethazine. All of which are, or some of which are opiates. Fentanyl has been described by the Chattanooga Police Department previously as being 50 times more potent than heroin. Epperson wore hospital scrubs in order to gain access to restricted areas where drugs were kept, according to the report. A spokesperson from Memorial Hospital says that hospital staff recently filed a police report when they discovered a small amount of narcotic medication was discovered missing from 4 crash carts at the hospital. Lisa McCluskey, I should say, who's Vice President of Marketing and Communication, said that the crash carts were kept in supervised areas but did not require a hospital badge or key card to gain access. Since the medication went missing, the hospital has since changed its policy, taking those medications off of crash carts, so there are no longer these controlled narcotics on these crash carts that are normally there. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, where you can listen live on hotnewstalkradio.com, and we are everywhere. Go to hotnewstalkradio.com or download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report the world decides. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. You can save half off now. Go to hotnewstalkradio.com. Click on the half off link for great deals. Hot News Talk Radio saves you money. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Looking at the weather right now, where it's about 81 degrees in the Chattanooga area, and it's looking like there's a possibility of precipitation, only about 20% though. It sure is sunny in the studios here at Hot News Talk Radio, and there's a possibility of it raining though, very low possibility, 59% humidity, so very, very frizzy out there. For tomorrow on Friday, 20% chance of precipitation and 86 degrees is what's projected. Saturday, 87 degrees is the high, 20% chance of precipitation as well. Sunday, there's a 60% chance of precipitation, so pretty good chance that it's going to be raining. And on Monday, there's also a 60% chance of precipitation, and that continues on throughout the rest of the week next week. That's your weather forecast from us here at Hot News Talk Radio. That's AM 1240. Looking at the news again, where it's quite a lot is going on in McMinn County, where deputies have netted 3 arrests, and they've seized drugs, guns, money, and property as well. On Wednesday, McMinn County Sheriff's deputies responded to a suspicious call and ended up with 3 arrests, along with a large amount of cash, drugs, and guns. Deputies responded to a residence on County Road 162 on Wednesday morning to a suspicious call of persons carrying guns and TVs into a residence. Upon their arrival, officers met with 3 persons at the residence and saw a large amount of tools and property that were visible. Upon further investigation, one of the suspects was found to have an active arrest warrant, and a large amount of cash, drugs, and firearms were found as well. It was a combination of citizens making a good report and some good police work. The officers followed up on their suspicions and what was being presented to them. Something didn't look right, and they were able to uncover everything, said Aide Sheriff Joe Guy, McMinn County Sheriff's Office. Deputies and detectives as well recovered $4,957 in cash, almost a quarter pound of crystal methamphetamine with a street value of almost $5,000, several firearms, and other properties as well. The 3 suspects were arrested on a litany of charges. 23-year-old Jenny Burris of Sweetwater is charged with warrant for reckless endangerment, possession of a handgun by convicted felon, possession of Scheduled II narcotics for resale, 3 counts of unlawful possession of a weapon, and remains in custody on $92,000 bond. 28-year-old Joe Lynn of Philadelphia, Tennessee, is charged with possession of drug paraphernalia, theft over $10,000, possession of Schedule II narcotics for resale, 3 counts of possession of a deadly weapon during the commission of a violent felony, and remains in custody for a $61,000 bond, and so on. So Sheriff Guy says that additional charges may follow as well. So quite a few charges against these people currently, according to reports that we're getting. A father from East Ridge is being charged with felony child abuse for spanking his son, according to authorities. An East Ridge father is facing felony charges for spanking his son. Roger Stevens, who's 23, was charged Wednesday with felony child abuse. He was arrested as well. According to court records, Stevens is accused of striking the child's legs with an unknown object with left bruising. In an interview with East Ridge Police, Stevens said that he what happened? There it goes. Sorry about that. Says that he spanked his son on 3 occasions over the weekend, and he did not say why he spanked the child. Sorry about that. The computer freaked out. Stevens is scheduled to appear in Hamilton County Criminal Court on June the 5th in connection to a long list of charges unrelated to the case in East Ridge. Those charges include theft, burglary of an auto, and resisting arrest. So it's quite a few charges that are against him. He's 23 years old, and it appears that he's now accused of striking a child's legs with an unknown object, which left bruising. So those are the charges, which are felony child abuse at this time. The IRS believes that the identity thieves who stole over $100,000, or rather 100,000 taxpayer documents from an IRS website were from Russia. IRS investigators believe the identity thieves who stole the personal tax information of more than 100,000 taxpayers from an IRS website are part of a sophisticated criminal operation based in Russia, according to 2 officials. The information was stolen as part of an elaborate scheme to claim fraudulent tax refunds, according to IRS Commissioner John Koskinen, according to what he told reporters. Koskinen declined, to say where the crime originated, but 2 officials briefed on the matter said Wednesday that the IRS believes the criminals were in the Federation, or rather the Russian Federation, based on computer data about who accessed the information. The officials spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to publicly discuss the ongoing criminal investigation. An IRS spokeswoman said Wednesday that the agency couldn't comment on the investigation. The revelation highlights the global reach of many cyber criminals, and it's not the first time that the IRS has been targeted by identity thieves based overseas. And in 2012, the IRS sent a total of 655 tax refunds to a single address in the country of Lithuania, and 343 refunds went to a lone address in Shanghai, according to a report by the agency's inspector general. The IRS has since added safeguards to prevent similar schemes, but the criminals are innovating as well. And as I've noted on my show, which is Digital Drive right here on Hot News Talk Radio, there's no clear link between them and the Russian government, which is something that needs to be made clear. There's no link between them and the Russian government. They just appear to be criminals who are in Russia, not affiliated with any sort of Russian government cell or what have you. And we've been talking about that a little bit on my show, which is Digital Drive right here on Hot News Talk Radio. We have a lot of great shows, by the way, here on Hot News Talk Radio. We have Don Imus in the morning from 6 to 9. We have Laura Ingram from 9 to noon. From 11 to noon, we also have on 11 to noon on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, we have the Half Off Show right here on Hot News Talk Radio. My show is Digital Drive. We talk about technology and quite a bit more on Digital Drive, which is my show here on Hot News Talk Radio. Nuganomics.com with David Toulis is on from 1 to 3, where he talks about local economy and free markets in a very Nuga-centric position, which is the idea that we should be focusing on local economy instead of the national economy, which is bound to collapse. And Sean Hannity is on after that from 3 to 5. And what you're listening to right now is Hot News Now. We talk about the different national, regional, and local news events as they occur right here on Hot News Now. And coming up from 7 to 9 is 6 to 7 is Cowboy Up with Tex with his weekend roundup. He's going to be talking about all the different events that are occurring around the area here on Hot News Talk Radio, and he's going to be giving you all the information you need to know about different local events as they occur. He's been doing quite a lot of digging to discover what's been going on. He's even been calling different organizations to see if they have any events going on. So be sure to tune in to Cowboy Up with Tex right here from 6 to 7. It's his weekend roundup today here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. And by the way, speak of TuneIn, you can get the TuneIn radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio, and you'll be able to listen to us that way with the TuneIn radio app on your smartphone. Just get that TuneIn radio app and then search for Hot News Talk Radio, and you'll be able to listen to us that way. You can also go to Twitter and search for Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter, where you report the world decides. That's AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. And you can save half off right now. Go to hotnewstalkradio.com and click on the half off link for great deals. Hot News Talk Radio is saving you money. That's AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. A person was struck and killed by a train in Sale Creek. A captain with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office says that a train was traveling along the tracks around a curve when it then struck a man walking along the train tracks, which killed him instantly. An engineer says that he was standing near the track, in the track near the west side, and then the train struck him and knocked him to the west side of the tracks, said Captain William Johnson. Police say that the victim was a white, middle-aged man, but investigators have not yet confirmed who he is. A medical examiner has ruled his death to be accidental. The description we had been given, says Captain Johnson, is that he was kind of bent over, sort of kind of bent down, like he might have been picking something up. Captain Johnson said that he wasn't sure, but the description, that's what the description was that we learned from a witness. Norfolk Southern was operating the train. A spokesperson for the railroad says the crew reported the incident and was unable to stop in time. Track speed at the location is 40 miles per hour. 4 people have been struck and killed by a train on the 5-mile stretch of track since 2011. And 4 years ago, Michael Hennon and Hannah Barnes died near McDonald Farm on Coulterville Road. Earlier this year in March, a 9-year-old autistic boy, Timothy Wallace, was struck and killed along the tracks about 2 miles away near Leggett Road. And Wednesday's fatality happened about 2 miles further down the track near Industrial Boulevard. A man who lives nearby says that it's very difficult to hear a train coming, even if you're on the tracks. He says there are times when he can't hear a train because he's loaded, he's rolling, and the weight's off the wheels, and he's going by pretty good. So Kenneth Mobley of Sale Creek. But you can feel the vibration, so the best thing you can do is look, just like you're crossing the street. Sheriff's Office is working with the railroad police to get the train's video surveillance and determine how fast it was going. While other fatalities have happened in the area, the Sheriff's Office says that it's not clear whether this stretch of track is more dangerous by design or if it's just used more by pedestrians more often. So they're going to be looking into that as well. A motorcyclist from Fort Oglethorpe who was involved in a crash has now been taken off of life support. A motorcyclist who had been in critical condition since a crash with an SUV on Sunday has now died. Jesse Campbell had been on life support since the wreck on Lafayette Road in Fort Oglethorpe. Authorities say the driver of the SUV, Janet Marie Brock, will be charged with failure to yield the right-of-way and vehicular homicide now that he's been taken off of life support and has died. This is Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. The temperature right now is about 80 degrees. It's a beautiful day here in the Hot News Talk Radio area, I guess, in the Chattanooga area, here at the Hot News Talk Radio studios. It's looking actually clear-ish. There are some gray clouds, and there is a possibility of rain tonight, but right now it's not looking like it's raining anywhere. It's about 80 degrees right now. Tomorrow it's going to be about 86 is the projected high, with precipitation being about 20% chance of precipitation. Really, the highest chance of rain we have is on Sunday, where there's a 60% chance of rain. But the weekend on Friday and Saturday are looking like the temperatures are going to be nice, but there's a slight chance of rain, so keep that in mind.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Surgery does not have to be financially painful. Hi, I'm Surgical Dr. David Red, and I'd like to invite you to my walk-in surgery clinic in North Shore. Quick Surge brings you immediate relief from moles, skin tags, maybe a laceration. Quick Surge. You walk in, fill out a mini form, I numb the area I'll treat, and before you know it, you're on your way home. Do I take insurance? No, because I take cash customers. I have super low and fixed prices, credit card, check, or cash. Uninsured, member of the working financially disadvantaged, choose Quick Surge. I publish prices online. No murk, just sunshine. Hassle-free, pain-free. Love the idea of a personal relationship with a doctor? Drop in with a nasty cut from work. Quick Surge, I'll take care of you. Quick Surge in the Public Center on the North Shore. No insurance hassles with Quick Surge. The national medical system is dysfunctional, overpriced, very alienating. I'm part of the solution, and so are you. Come on home. Quicksurge.com. QUIKSURG. Relief.
Okay, you get your taxes done by a franchise, but you're just a number. Your preparer might have had a 9-week course, but he's a number 2. Are you creating prosperity for your customers and yourself? E.J. Pelton clears the thick underbrush of taxes, helps make your way straight. Don't let uncertainty dampen your local economy spirit. Look, come home. Let E.J. Pelton Tax Service handle your taxes. Eric Pelton is the Chattanooga and Saudi Daisy tax specialist with 37 years under his belt. Eric Pelton also does bookkeeping and accounting to help you reach your entrepreneurial and financial goals. Confidential advice, consulting, and other services. Yours for the asking. EJPelton.com. That's EJPelton.com. Call 332-3339. That's 332-3339. Think ahead.
Hi, this is your computer speaking. I don't feel so well. It's like I've come down with a bug, and I'm getting slower.
Affordable Computers. We fix sick computers. Your hometown guys at Affordable Computers will repair your PC in half the time of the big boys at an affordable price. No tricks, no gimmicks, no computer speak technobabble. Just good, quick, and courteous affordable service and repairs. Want to affordably supercharge your PC? Affordable Computers on Highway 58. Affordable Computers hand builds all desktops in-house. If you're looking for a better-than-new refurb laptop, $150 will get you a Dell or another name brand at Affordable Computers. Affordable Computers, Highway 58, between Arby's and Taco Bell. Also Fort O, Battlefield Parkway, near Holcomb's. Affordable Computers, we service what we sell. Call 499-1975. That's 499-1975.
Wow, this is amazing. I'm feeling great. Supercharged.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
It's 5:24 here at Hot News Talk Radio, and here's Mike Wood with Hot News Talk Radio's Fast Traffic Now.
Russell, I appreciate that, buddy. Good afternoon. Got several things we are working this afternoon. Ringgold Road and East Street is right at McDonald Road between McDonald and I-75. An accident. Old Lee at Stonehenge, Appleton Pike at East Brainerd, and one on Signal Mountain Road at Suck Creek Road we had a little bit earlier. Chattanooga Police still on the scene of that one this afternoon. TDOT cameras still look really good, 75-24 good. I'm looking at 153 right now across the Chickamauga Dam. Both sides in terrific shape through there this afternoon. This report is service of Holcomb Garden Center to get that garden growing, keep it growing for you. They've got 48 years of helping gardeners be successful in the area. Holcomb's has what you need, including 2 locations, 153 in Hickson, Battlefield Parkway, and Fort O as well. Mike Wood and the traffic center here, Hot News Talk Radio at AM 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
It's 5:25 here on Hot News Talk Radio. I'm Russell. Here's what's happening. We're looking at the EPA now, which is unveiling new regulations to protect U.S. waters from pollution. According to reports, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has issued a new rule that's intended to curb pollution in the nation's waterways. It's also meant to clarify just which waters the EPA can regulate inside the United States. And this has actually been the subject of quite a lot of debate in the area in Ringgold and Chattanooga, and also in Georgia. This is the broader Georgia area, where Governor Nathan Deal has actually passed some legislation regarding this, saying that they cannot, in fact, regulate certain areas that are on farmland. It's been dubbed the Clean Water Rule. It's the new regulations that are taking aim at protecting the streams and wetlands that may not necessarily feed the country's large water sources, but are still vital to providing Americans with drinking water, according to the New York Times. The rule will cover 60% of the bodies of water in America. And it says too many of our waters have been left vulnerable to pollution, according to President Barack Obama in a statement on the rule, adding that 1 in 3 Americans now gets drinking water from streams lacking clear protections. And he's wanting the EPA to offer those protections. With today's rule, he says we take another step towards protecting the waters that belong to all of us. Under the Clean Water Rule, water sources for those 117 million Americans will be protected, wrote EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy and Assistant Secretary of the Army for Civil Works Jo Ellen Darcy on Wednesday. Specifically, the rule is intended to act as part of the already existing Clean Water Act of 1972, which allowed the government to regulate large bodies of water such as the Mississippi River and the Puget Sound, as well as the waterways that feed them. However, subsequent court cases have created confusion regarding the government's power to regulate smaller bodies of water, since it's unclear how the government should define connected waterways. So it's still a topic of hot debate. And the EPA is now unveiling new regulations that they're hoping that most people can agree on. Now, anthrax is an extremely deadly disease. It's an extremely deadly virus, and it can be spread by spores and pathogens and such. Well, live anthrax was shipped across the states to South Korea by accident, says the Pentagon. The Pentagon says that live anthrax was inadvertently shipped across state lines from a military lab in Utah to 9 other states and a military base in South Korea. However, a Department of Defense spokesperson says that the public is not at risk. One unnamed U.S. official also told Reuters that anthrax samples were being shipped out from 2 military facilities for over a year, from March 2014 to April 2015. Those samples were mistakenly marked inactive, the official said. While the anthrax samples were first moved out of Dugway Proving Ground in Utah, they were later shipped from Edgewood Chemical Biological Center in Maryland to federal, private, and academic facilities. Authorities have suggested that 22 people inside the U.S. take preventative medicine in the wake of the news, Reuters reported. It's unclear if they were exposed to any live anthrax samples. And this has been hitting home as well here in Tennessee, where one person at least has been giving a little bit of a report on what's been going on, because some of the anthrax was actually shipped to Tennessee. Senator Lamar Alexander from Tennessee said on Wednesday night that he's going to be releasing a statement, and he has in fact done that now, saying, "I'm very concerned about the possibility that lab workers at Tennessee or in other states may have been exposed to anthrax because of this disturbing breach in safety procedures." He says, "My staff has already been in contact with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Department of Defense," he says, "and I'll be monitoring the situation very closely." According to the Pentagon, the anthrax that was shipped was supposed to be dead or somehow disabled, but that was not the case, according to the Pentagon now with their new statement. So that's what's going on with the anthrax situation over in the Pentagon, which actually hit home here. Corporations are now shelling out $1.2 million in Senate contributions to fast-track the Trans-Pacific Partnership, even though there are quite a few protests regarding that. Records from the Federal Elections Commission, or FEC, show corporations have been donating tens of thousands of dollars to Senate campaign coffers, particularly to lawmakers who are undecided over a controversial trade deal involving Pacific Rim countries, I should say. Using data from the Federal Election Commission, The Guardian studied donations from the private members of the U.S. Business Coalition for the TPP, or the Trans-Pacific Partnership, to the U.S. Senate campaigns between January and March of 2015, when debate over the trade deal was ramping up. What the document showed was that out of a nearly $1.2 million that were given, an average of $17,000 was voted to each of the 65 yes votes. And Republicans received an average of $19,000, while Democrats received an average of $9,700. So I guess Democrats are cheaper to buy out. It's a rare thing for members of Congress to go against the money these days, said Mansur Gidfar, spokesperson for the anti-corruption group Represent.us, to The Guardian, saying they know exactly which special interests they need to keep happy if they want to fund their re-election campaigns or secure future jobs as lobbyists. Fast-tracking the Trans-Pacific Partnership means that voting to allow President Barack Obama to negotiate a deal without permitting Congress to amend the final document. The Senate first voted to debate the Trade Promotion Authority, or TPA, the fast-track bill, by a 65 to 33 margin on May 14th. On May 21st, lawmakers voted 62 to 37 to bring the debate on the TPA to a close and to pass the bill. Little is known about the specifics of the trade deal. According to a draft document leaked by WikiLeaks, the pact would grant broad powers to multinational companies operating in North America, South America, and Asia, such as the ability to challenge regulations, rules, government actions, and court rulings, federal, state, or local, before tribunals organized under the World Bank or the United Nations. So understandably, quite a lot of protest has been raised over this, and quite a few different groups are very unhappy about the results of this vote. And police are now identifying and have identified a body that was found floating near the Chickamauga Dam. Chattanooga police have identified a body found Wednesday morning as 39-year-old Torrance Civils, or Civils. We're not sure on the pronunciation yet. The cause of death is pending the results of the autopsy by the medical examiner's office. Chattanooga police are still asking anyone with any information regarding the incident to call 423-698-2525. The investigation is still ongoing. The previous story is that Chattanooga police said that a body was found on Wednesday morning in the Tennessee River, and it was reported by a local fisherman at around 1 a.m. Investigators with the Chattanooga Police Department are still investigating a body that was found floating in the Tennessee River as early as Wednesday morning. So the fact that they're still waiting on a medical examiner's autopsy for a cause of death means that drowning may or may not have been the case. It's not apparent yet. So they also are not suspecting foul play, which is a rather odd development. So we're not sure why that is. Officials also said that no boat was found with the body, and that therefore the Chattanooga Police Department would handle the investigation. If a boat had been found, it would be a different matter, and either the state police or the Coast Guard would be handling it. Police say that foul play is not suspected at this time, and Chattanooga police are also asking anyone with any information regarding this crime still to call 423-698-2525 if you have any information about the body that was found floating near the Chickamauga Dam. A corrections officer has been accused of posing as a doctor in order to steal narcotics. So the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office has suspended Ryan Epperson with pay pending the outcome of his court hearing on June the 2nd. Pardon me. The Hamilton County Sheriff Jim Hammond said that the agency's policy is to give the employee his day in court first, where they can be found innocent or guilty. If this employee is found guilty of any of his charges, says Hammond, he will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Chief Alan Branham said that we just don't tolerate this kind of behavior by any of our employees who have betrayed the public's trust in them. Hamilton County Sheriff's Corrections Officer Epperson is facing numerous charges now after police say that he reportedly posed as a surgeon doctor at local hospitals in order to steal drugs. Epperson, who's 26, has worked as a jailer since 2009. He told investigators that he had an addiction problem, according to an affidavit of complaint. He told investigators that he was concerned about keeping his job. He was reportedly caught at Erlanger on Wednesday by a Walden security guard. Walden Security is the agency which is guarding Erlanger Hospital, by the way. And he was taken from that residence, or that premises, I should say, and he found that he turned over drugs taken from CHI Memorial Hospital and Erlanger Hospital and Park Ridge Medical Center. All three of those facilities, apparently, he took narcotics from, according to police. Investigators searched his apartment in Red Bank as well as his vehicle after he gave them permission. They found a large bag of drugs in a Ford Fusion. A large quantity of drugs were found at his home as well, including Demerol, fentanyl, hydromorphone, morphine, methazone, and promethazine. Epperson wore hospital scrubs in order to gain access to restricted areas where drugs were kept, according to the report. Spokesperson for Memorial Hospital tells us that hospital staff recently filed a police report where they discovered a small amount of narcotic medication was discovered missing from 4 crash carts at that hospital. At Erlanger, I should say. Lisa McCluskey, who's the vice president of marketing and communications, says the crash carts were kept in supervised areas but did not require a hospital badge or key card to gain access. Since the medication went missing, the hospital has changed its policy, taking those medications off of those crash carts. So now you have to have an identification in order to access them. McCluskey was unaware of Epperson's arrest until News Channel 3 reached out to her for comment. She would not confirm if surveillance video was handed over to authorities, but says that there is surveillance in all areas of the hospital. She added that the hospital expects to hear from police after court readings or records show Epperson admitted to taking medication from the hospital. So that's the update now on the corrections officer who's accused of posing as a doctor in order to steal drugs. Now, of course, these are only allegations, and the trial is still pending. Some McMinn deputies in McMinn County, of course, netted 3 arrests. They got guns, drugs, and money and property as well. So on yesterday, McMinn County Sheriff's deputies responded to a suspicious call and ended up with 3 arrests along with a large amount of cash, drugs, and guns. Deputies responded to a residence on County Road 162 on Wednesday morning to a suspicious call of persons carrying guns and TVs into a residence. Upon their arrival, officers met with 3 persons at the residence and saw a large amount of tools and property were visible. Upon further investigation, one of the suspects was found to have an active arrest warrant, and a large amount of cash, drugs, and firearms were found. It was a combination of citizens making a good report and some good police work. The officers followed up on their suspicions and what was being presented to them. Something didn't look right, and they were able to uncover everything, said Sheriff Joe Guy, McMinn County Sheriff's Office. Deputies and detectives recovered $4,957 in cash, almost a quarter pound of crystal methamphetamine with a street value of almost $5,000, several firearms, and other property. 3 suspects have now been charged, and they are held on the following: $92,000 bond for one, $61,000 bond for the second, and $63,000 bond for the third. Officers also recovered a large amount of surveying equipment and electronics that may be from area burglaries, although they are not sure about that. An East Ridge father is being charged with felony child abuse for spanking his son. An East Ridge father is now facing felony charges for spanking his son, according to reports. Roger Stevens, who's 23, was arrested on yesterday, and charged with felony child abuse. According to court records obtained by Channel 3, Stevens is accused of striking the child's legs with an unknown object, which left bruising. In an interview with East Ridge Police, Stevens said that he spanked his child on 3 occasions over the weekend. He did not say why or what he used to do so. Stevens is scheduled to appear in Hamilton County Criminal Court on June the 5th, and it's in connection to a long list of charges unrelated to the case in East Ridge. Those charges include theft, burglary of an automobile, and resisting arrest. We have a lot of great programming and a lot of other things here on Hot News Talk Radio. For instance, you can get to us on our website on hotnewstalkradio.com. Download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report the world decides. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. You can save half off now. Go to hotnewstalkradio.com. Click on the half off link for great deals. Hot News Talk Radio is saving you money. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Of course, that is only for Hamilton County residents for the half off deals. We have a lot of great programming here on Hot News Talk Radio. We have Don Imus in the morning from 6 to 9, where he's got a great staff over there at Imus in the morning, and he talks about a lot of different topics, different social issues, political issues. He's interviewed a lot of celebrities over there. He's also interviewed quite a few people from the Fox News channel over on Imus in the morning. Laura Ingram is also on from 9 to noon, and from 11 to noon on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, we have the Half Off Show, where we showcase all the different items that we have on the website for half off. My show is Digital Drive, where we talk about local economy. Sometimes we also talk about the digital markets, talking about Bitcoin quite a bit. We've also been talking about the IRS hacking, where it does not appear that the Russian government per se is involved in the hacking, but it does appear that Russian crime elements are involved. So there's no cooperation from the Russian government as far as we know so far. We've been talking about that quite a bit on Digital Drive, which is my show, from 12 to 1 right here on Hot News Talk Radio. Nuganomics.com with David Toulis is on from 1 to 3. Talks about local economy and free markets from his own very Nuga-centric position, which is the idea that you should buy local instead of national, because the local economy is much more sustainable and not quite as prone to collapse as national economies are. We also have Sean Hannity from 3 to 5 here on Hot News Talk Radio. He's been interviewing a lot of different presidential candidates. We can expect that he'll be having George Pataki on his show soon enough, and that's his show, which is Sean Hannity from 3 to 5. Cowboy Patex is coming up next, and he's going to be talking about the day's events, and also it's his weekend roundup. Texas Weekend Roundup is here on Hot News Talk Radio from 6 to 7. He's going to be talking about both the day's events and all the different events that are occurring anything elsewhere that you can go and visit over the weekend. It's 87 degrees right now in the Chattanooga area, expected to get kind of rainy as the week goes by, and it's 5:39 p.m. right here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
We've got a table here at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection: loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork, quesadillas. Every dish beautifully pictured on the menu to help us decide. Join us for lunch or dinner. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy on Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light. Here's dinner. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos, homemade. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch and dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. In Saudi, call 521-7145. That's 521-7145.
You want more business. You want to increase your bottom line. You want to spend less on advertising, imaging your business, and general expenses. You need Trade Bank. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Trade Bank. Call now to get access to nearly 400 local businesses. Trade Bank. Call 877-2202. 877-2202. Trade Bank. You want to increase your cash flow, your competitive edge, attract new customers, and build a loyal customer base. You need Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call right now. 877-2202. When you join Trade Bank, you'll get the benefit of free advertising in our monthly magazine, tradebank.com, emails, and mailouts. Join Trade Bank now and receive your Trade Bank debit card with trade credits to spend any way you want with our wide variety of Trade Bank partners. For almost 30 years, Trade Bank has been your voice for small business, a member of the American Bankers Association, and in good standing with you. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call now for a free consultation. 877-2202. That's 877-2202. Trade Bank of Chattanooga.
If you have the DTs, the shakes, because your phone is on the fritz, you have nomophobia. You need help. Your telecom doctor is in. Cell Surgeon at Northgate Mall. Cell Surgeon yanks open the ribcage of your phone, pries out the dead heart, and puts in the beating life that you lead on your cell phone. Broken screen, phone not charging, water damage, battery given out? Cell Surgeon at Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza. Check us out on Facebook. Open Sunday. Cell Surgeon. We bring your phone back to life.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
542 here at Hot News Talk Radio. Here's Mike Wood with Hot News Talk Radio's Fast Traffic Now.
Hey, Russell, thanks very much. Still pretty busy afternoon. Chattanooga police on the way to Airport Road at Shallowford. An accident, no injuries. Also on Shallowford, we got one between 153 and Chapman Road right now. Hickson Pike at Middle Valley. That is an accident. 153 northbound at Amnicola. Went through there a bit ago. Should be in the clearing stages on that. 975 East 3rd, you probably recognize that right in front of Erlanger. An accident, no injuries there. Ringgold Road at McDonald Road and East Ridge, one there a bit ago. Wrapping up Appleton Pike at East Brainerd with an earlier accident as well. Again, the interstate so far look pretty good for you. Mike Wood and the Traffic Center, Hot News Talk Radio and AM 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
It's 542 here at Hot News Talk Radio. Let's go ahead and look at the weather, actually, where it's about 80 degrees right now, and there's now a 40% chance of precipitation, which has gone up quite a bit from what we had before. So now there's a 40% chance of precipitation as time is going by, and we're trying to find out if it is actually raining anywhere. We're looking at actually the traffic cameras right now that I pulled up from TDOT, and I'm not seeing any rain right now, although there may be some later just going by these reports. About 40% chance of precipitation so far and 69% humidity. So things are not looking very accommodating if you have any plans for being outside anytime soon. It's about 80 degrees right now in the Chattanooga area. And Friday, tomorrow, 86 degrees is the high. 20% chance, I should say, of precipitation. On Saturday, 87 degrees and another 20% chance of precipitation. And Sunday, 86 degrees and a 60% chance of precipitation as well. So over the weekend, it looks like things are going to be getting warmer, but not necessarily drier. There is still a small chance of rain although it's not necessarily guaranteed. There could be some rain over the weekend, and definitely Sunday. We're seeing pretty high chances of rain. Looking at next week on Monday, 84 degrees is what we're expecting with a 60% chance of precipitation. And there's actually a 60% chance of precipitation all next week, all the way up till Thursday, according to these reports. And that's your weather update from us here at the Weather Center at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. And we are AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, and we are everywhere. You can listen live to Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewstalkradio.com. Download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report the world decides. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. You can save half off now. Go to hotnewstalkradio.com and click on the half off link for great deals. Hot News Talk Radio is saving you money. That's AM 1240 at Hot News Talk Radio. Looking at the news now, where the EPA is unveiling new regulations to protect U.S. waters from pollution. According to these reports, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has issued a new rule that's intended to curb pollution in the nation's waterways. It's also meant to clarify just which waters the EPA can regulate and cannot regulate within the United States. It's been dubbed the Clean Water Rule, and the new regulations are taking aim at protecting the streams of wetlands that may not necessarily feed the country's large water sources, but are still vital to providing Americans with drinking water. According to the New York Times, the rule will cover 60% of the bodies of water in America. President Barack Obama said that too many of our waters have been left vulnerable to pollution, adding that 1 in 3 Americans now gets drinking water from streams lacking clear protection. With today's rule, he says, we take another step towards protecting the waters that belong to all of us. Under the Clean Water Rule, water sources for those 117 million Americans will be protected, wrote EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy and Assistant Secretary of the Army for Civil Works Jo Ellen Darcy on Wednesday. Specifically, the rule is intended to act as part of the already existing Clean Water Act from 1972, which allowed the government to regulate large bodies of water, and such as the Mississippi River and the Puget Sound, of course, the Tennessee River being included there, as well as the waterways that feed into them. However, subsequent court cases have now created confusion regarding the government's power to regulate smaller bodies of water, since it's unclear how the government can define or should define connected waterways. Under this new rule, the EPA will monitor all tributaries that feature flowing water. So if a body of water is 1,500 feet away from another body that is already protected under the Clean Water Act, it will also be protected by pollution regulations. The president said that this rule will provide the clarity and certainty that businesses and industries need about which waters are protected by the Clean Water Act, and it will ensure that polluters who knowingly threaten our waters can be held accountable, the president said. Notably, the EPA said that existing exemptions for agriculture will still remain in place, and water bodies that are still and not flowing, such as ditches, will also remain outside of the EPA's jurisdiction. And McCarthy and Darcy both wrote that the final rule doesn't create any new permitting requirements for agriculture. It just maintains all the previous exemptions and exclusions, and even adds exclusions for features like artificial lakes and ponds and water-filled depressions from construction and grass swales, all to make clear our goal is to stay out of agriculture's way, said Darcy and McCarthy. So it's EPA which has unveiled new regulations to protect U.S. waters from pollution, according to these reports. The police have identified a body that was found floating near Chickamauga Dam, although they have not found out what the cause of death is. Chattanooga police have now identified the body found Wednesday morning as 39-year-old Torrance Civils or Civils. We're not clear on the pronunciation yet. The cause of death is pending the results of the autopsy by the medical examiner's office. The Chattanooga police will still ask anyone with any information regarding this crime to please call them at 423-698-2525. The investigation is still ongoing. So previously, the Chattanooga police were saying that the body found Wednesday morning in the Tennessee River had been reported by a local fisherman, and that's still holding up. So it's appearing that the Chattanooga police found this body, or rather a fisherman found this body and called the police, and we don't know yet what the cause of death was. He did not have a boat near him, so the Chattanooga Police Department was handling the investigation due to there not being a boat involved. Hamilton County EMS transported the body away from the scene at 4:30 a.m., and police say that foul play is not suspected at this time, although that is subject to change depending on what the results are for this autopsy. So again, that's 423-698-2525 if you have any information regarding the body that was found floating in the Tennessee River near the Chickamauga Dam. A corrections officer is being accused of posing as a doctor in order to steal drugs, according to the police. The Hamilton County Sheriff's Office has suspended Ryan Epperson with pay pending the outcome of his court hearing on June the 2nd. Hamilton County Sheriff Hammond says that it is our agency's policy to give the employee his day in court first, where they can be found innocent or guilty. If this employee is found guilty of any of his charges, said Hammond, he will then be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Chief Alan Branham said that we just don't tolerate this kind of behavior by any of our employees who have betrayed the public's trust in them. Hamilton County Sheriff's Corrections Officer Epperson is facing numerous charges after police say he reportedly posed as a surgeon doctor at local hospitals in order to steal drugs. Epperson, who's 26, has worked as a jailer since 2009. He told investigators that he had an addiction problem, according to an affidavit of complaint. And he allegedly took quite a few drugs from a crash cart, which included fentanyl, by the way, which is reportedly several times stronger than heroin. The complete laundry list of drugs that were taken from him, or rather were turned over by him, are Demerol, fentanyl, hydromorphone, morphine, methazone, and promethazine, all of which are very strong narcotics. Epperson wore hospital scrubs in order to gain access to restricted areas where drugs were kept, according to the report. A spokesperson for Memorial Hospital says that hospital staff recently filed a police report when they discovered a small amount of narcotic medication was discovered missing from 4 crash carts at the hospital, and they've since changed their policy so that those crash carts have to be kept under watch, and you also have to have identification in order to access them. McMinn County deputies have netted 3 arrests, including guns, drugs, money, and property. On Wednesday, McMinn County Sheriff's deputies responded to a suspicious call and ended up with 3 arrests, along with a large amount of cash, drugs, and guns. Deputies responded to a residence on County Road 162 on Wednesday morning to a suspicious call of persons carrying guns and TVs into a residence. Upon their arrival, officers met with 3 persons at the residence and saw a large amount of tools and property were visible. Upon further investigation, one of the suspects was found to have an active warrant for his arrest, and a large amount of cash, drugs, and firearms were found as well. And Joe Guy, who's the sheriff's chief, I should say, the current sheriff in McMinn County, said that it was a good combination of citizens making a good report and some good police work. The officers followed up on their suspicions and what was being presented to them. Something didn't look right, and they were able to uncover everything, said Sheriff Joe Guy, who's McMinn County Sheriff's Office. Deputies and detectives recovered $4,957 in cash, almost a quarter pound of crystal methamphetamine with a street value of almost $5,000. They also got several firearms and other property as well. 3 suspects were arrested on a litany of charges. 23-year-old Jenny Burris of Sweetwater is also charged with a warrant for reckless endangerment, along with several other charges, which all amounts to $92,000 for bond. 28-year-old Joel Lynn of Philadelphia is charged with possession of drug paraphernalia as well, and this bond is set at $61,000. And Nicholas Robinette, who's 26 years old from Sweetwater, is being charged with $63,000 for bond as well. Officers also recovered a large amount of surveying equipment and electronics that may have been taken from area burglaries. The sheriff says that additional charges may be following, given more evidence that's found. So we'll keep you updated on that right here on Hot News Talk Radio. As soon as more information about that comes out, we'll let you know here on Hot News Talk Radio. A father in East Ridge is being charged with felony child abuse for spanking his son, according to reports. And East Ridge father is now facing felony charges for spanking his son. Roger Stevens, who's 23, was arrested on Wednesday and charged with felony child abuse. According to court records obtained by News Channel 3, Stevens is accused of striking the child's legs with an unknown object, which left bruising. In an interview with East Ridge police, Stevens said that he spanked his child on 3 occasions over the weekend, and he did not say why he spanked the child. Stevens is scheduled to appear in Hamilton County Criminal Court on June the 5th in connection to a long list of charges unrelated to his case in East Ridge. Those charges include theft, burglary of an auto, and resisting arrest. So those charges are unrelated to the child abuse charge, which is a felony charge as well. The IRS believes that identity thieves are from Russia, the thieves who stole $100,000, or rather 100,000 taxpayer records from the IRS website. They believe that they're part of a sophisticated criminal operation based in Russia, according to 2 officials. The information was stolen as part of an elaborate scheme to claim fraudulent tax refunds, according to IRS Commissioner John Koskinen. so he told reporters. Koskinen then declined to say where the crime originated, but the two officials briefed on the matter said on Wednesday that the IRS believes the criminals were in Russia based on computer data about who accessed the information. The officials spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to publicly discuss the ongoing criminal investigation. An IRS spokeswoman said Wednesday that the agency could not comment on the investigation. The revelation highlights the global reach of many cyber criminals, and it's not the first time that the IRS has been targeted by identity thieves based in overseas areas. In 2012, the IRS sent a total of 255 tax refunds to a single address in Lithuania, and 343 refunds went to a lone address in Shanghai, according to a report by the agency's inspector general. The IRS has since added safeguards to prevent similar schemes, but the criminals are also innovating, so as soon as the law catches up to them, they find another way to break it. A person was struck and killed by a train in Sale Creek, according to reports. A captain with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office says a train was traveling along the tracks going around a curve when it struck a man walking along the train tracks and killed him instantly. An engineer, says Captain William Johnson, an engineer told him that he was standing near the track and in the track near the west side when a train struck him and knocked him to the west side of the tracks, according to Captain William Johnson. Police say the victim is a white, middle-aged man, but investigators have not yet confirmed what his identity is. The medical examiner has ruled his death as accidental. The description we had been given, says Captain Johnson, is that he was kind of bent over, sort of bent down like he might have been picking something up. And they aren't sure what the description is, but that's what they learned from the witness. Norfolk Southern was operating that train. A spokesperson for the railroad says the crew reported the incident and was unable to stop in time. Track speed at the location was 40 miles per hour, although it's not clear how fast the train was going. That was the limit. 4 people have been struck and killed by a train on a 5-mile stretch of track since 2011. 4 years ago, Michael Hennon and Hannah Barnes died near McDonald Farm on Coulterville Road. Also, earlier this year in March, a 9-year-old autistic boy, Timothy Wallace, was struck and killed along the tracks about 2 miles away near Leggett Road. Wednesday's fatality happened 2 miles further down the track in Industrial Boulevard. A man who lives nearby says it's very difficult to hear a train coming, even if you're on the tracks. He said you have to sort of go by vibration and sight, not necessarily by hearing. The sheriff's office is working the railroad with railroad police to get the train's video surveillance and to determine how fast the train was going. Although, again, the posted limit was 40 miles per hour for a train. While other fatalities have happened in this area, the sheriff's office says that it's not clear whether the stretch of track is just more dangerous by design or if it's used more often by pedestrians. So they're not clear what exactly the case is with this particular case. We have a lot of great programming here on Hot News Talk Radio. We have Imus in the morning. We have Laura Ingram. And we have on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays a half-off show here on Hot News Talk Radio. Digital Drive is my show where I talk about technology and quite a bit more. You can listen to that every weekday from 12 to 1 here on Hot News Talk Radio. We're going to be talking about the IRS, the $100,000 worth of records that were stolen.
Just relax, you need a car. Come to Auto Lux.
My wife and I keep the cost down.